Now those were the visuals of the annual chariot festival held in Kathmandu. Hindus and Buddhists come together to pull a massive wooden chariot honoring Nepal's patron deity. Centuries-old rituals nestled within ancient cities. That's the magic of Nepal. Hello and welcome to WION The World is One. I'm Furore and you're watching Inside South Asia. Pakistan-Bangladesh ties are at their warmest in decades. One of the biggest fallouts of Sheikh Hasina's exit in August last year. Bangladesh now leans distinctly away from New Delhi and towards Islamabad. And India is concerned. In light of all of this, the recent meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Bangladesh Chief Advisor Yunus assumes special importance. Here's more.
Their body language was indication enough of India-Bangladesh tensions amid new equations and distinct shifts in South Asian socio-politics. The previously unscheduled meeting was the first between the two after Sheikh Hasina was ousted and an interim government took over in Dhaka. Frictions at multiple levels, including Dhaka's new cozying up to Beijing, cast a shadow.
Prime Minister also urged in this regard that any rhetoric that vitiates the environment is best avoided. On the border, strict enforcement of the law and the prevention of illegal border crossings, especially at night, is necessary for maintaining border security and stability. Prime Minister also underlined India's concerns related to the safety and security of minorities in Bangladesh, including Hindus, and expressed his expectation that the government of Bangladesh would ensure their security.
Dominant too in these last few months has been a rising Bangladesh-Pakistan bonhomie, a readiness to set aside tensions around 1971 and look beyond the Sheikh Hasina years. Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and Bangladesh Chief Advisor Mohammad Yunus have met twice at recent international events. It's been a string of recent high-level bilateral interactions and visits, from Pakistan's envoy to Dhaka calling on BNP Chief Khaleda Zia to Pakistan's Inter-Services Intelligence Chief visiting. Pak Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar is going to Dhaka in the third week of April, a big first. Extend that to military and trade ties. Bangladesh's second highest ranked military officer visited Rawalpindi and initiated talks with the Pakistan Army counterparts to formalize defense engagement. Arms trade, joint military exercises and joint training programs have picked up. Trade is up more than 25% in less than 1 year.
It's a new development, certainly after many decades in which Pakistan-Bangladesh relations were limited, if not completely frozen. But at the same time, I think they're also a sign of the desperation of the interim government led by Professor Yunus, because they are trying to develop relationships with a series of countries that should, in their view, offer alternatives to India. That is a risky strategy. It is one they have been playing for the last few years, last few months. That includes the visit of Professor Yunus to China. But I think there are early indications that this will have limited effects. Which basically means that Professor Yunus is realizing with his interim government that he is bound to find some type of working relationship with India.
For India, Pakistan and Bangladesh coming together with the China hand thrown in means big security implications. At the top, Bangladesh border security concerns, particularly if anti-India terror bases are revived. Pakistan has long stoked anti-India Islamist fundamentalism and radicalization in Bangladesh. West Bengal and the northeast become vulnerable. There's also the threat to India's Siliguri corridor from Bangladesh and China. On the military front, Bangladesh planning to acquire JF-17 Thunder fighter jets jointly developed by Pakistan and China is a worry for India. Dhaka is also likely to get support to expand its naval and maritime fleet. Alarm bells are definitely ringing.
We know that Bangladesh is going through a change in its demography with a very young population that is susceptible to radicalization and extremism. Now, in a circumstance where you have the Jamaat party, for example, playing an increasingly important role in Bangladesh, in role and in position to control some policy agendas, including on police, on crime, on justice. The second security implication is about trade and commercial relations. The border between India and Bangladesh will be, of course, a border of fences, of controls. We've seen that develop in the last few years, but it will also be about border of flows of goods and people. We saw the record number of Bangladeshis who have been coming to India for health tourism and tourism, in fact.
Recent developments overturned Bangladesh-India affinities under Sheikh Hasina completely. India's eastern neighbor now becomes a worry, and that changes regional dynamics in a big way.
A political storm continues to rage in India on the new Waqf Amendment Act of 2025. The law makes significant changes to the management and administration of Waqf, that is, property dedicated for religious or charitable purposes under Islamic law. The government calls it a bid to enhance transparency. The political opposition and a large number of Muslim citizens claim it imposes arbitrary restrictions and strikes at the root of traditional Islamic practices. Here's more.
It's an issue that has raised a collective anger from Muslims around India. Sweeping changes in the management of vast tracts of land set aside for Muslim use hasn't gone down well with a large section of the minority community. On a bigger level, Islamic groups as well as opposition parties in parliament see the new law as a plan to secure assets owned by Muslims and to weaken their property rights under the constitution.
We will not accept this bill at all costs because they are trying to confiscate the lands of our ancestors. The government is trying to confiscate our madrasas, mosques, graveyards, and everything that belongs to our Waqf. Since this government came to power, it has been after us, the Muslims, using various issues like NRC, talaq. We are against the government now, and we will not accept anything that it says. We are prepared for it, and we will try to fight till our last breath.
Both houses of the Indian Parliament passed the landmark bill after marathon debates. It has been notified into law and is in effect. India's Supreme Court has agreed to hear on the 16th of April a slew of petitions challenging its constitutional validity. Concerns have been raised over alleged violation of fundamental rights, including the rights to equality and religion. The Act says central and state Waqf boards must include at least 2 non-Muslim members. Critics say this interferes with religious autonomy of a Muslim institution. The Act says a district collector can now survey Waqf properties in place of an independent commissioner and declare land wrongly registered as Waqf. Opposers say this gives unchecked power to the state to take over land. Under the new Act, government officers can do the job of Muslim law experts in Waqf tribunals. A section of Muslims says this invites politicization of tribunal verdicts. The Controller and Auditor General can now carry out audits of Waqf properties. Muslims say this clause can potentially be used to target Muslim-managed assets. Also among the top 5 contentious clauses, only persons practicing Islam for 5 years can dedicate a Waqf. Critics say this is meant to add a layer of bureaucratic red tape to the process. The bill raised massive uproars in Parliament through debates on misuse of religious freedoms versus government's claims on the need for regulations. It has resounded in state assemblies too.
We need to throw those people out who steal Waqf properties. In the name of Waqf, people who lease out properties for individual gains for hundreds of years need to be caught.
As with the Citizenship Amendment Act and other contentious legislations in the past, the opposition accuses the government of pushing a divisive agenda. The political debate continues over its long-term impact and possibilities of counter-legislations by non-NDA-ruled state governments. Will it empower marginalized communities as the government claims, or centralize control and erode minority autonomy as critics fear? The jury is out.
The Indian stock markets have been on a wild ride since last Wednesday, when US President Donald Trump announced sweeping tariffs on the world. Though the volatility was less than global and other regional indices, the losses in Indian stocks this week alone are over 20 lakh crore rupees. Indian stocks opened deep in the red on Monday but recovered somewhat to end the day with fewer losses. On Tuesday, a broader euphoria in Asian stocks meant Indian stocks ended in the green. On Wednesday, the risk-off sentiment meant a reversal hitting Indian stocks, with the indices ending a few hundred points in the red. The blue-chip Sensex index moved between losses of nearly 4,000 points on Monday to recover somewhat to end the day with about half of those losses. Asian stocks rallied on Thursday, mirroring a surge in Wall Street stocks overnight after Trump's U-turn to delay tariffs by 90 days. Now, Pakistan's Parsi community, about 20,000 people till about 2 decades back, has now dwindled to just about 900 and living mostly in Karachi. Their outlook has changed drastically too. What explains this shift, and how is that part of the bigger picture in Pakistan? Our next report explores.
An affluent and highly educated community staying together in gated colonies meant exclusively for members of the Zoroastrian faith. Meet the Parsis from Pakistan, who are now dwindling in the country. The community's high levels of education and Western outlook to life have meant that many among them keep an eye out for a future abroad. 22-year-old film student Elisha Amra, who lives in a gated colony in Pakistan's mega city Karachi, has bid goodbye to a number of her friends migrating abroad, and is herself not averse to the idea.
My plan is to go abroad. I want to do my master's and hopefully settle down somewhere. I haven't really decided where or when, but I mean, I'm in my last year of university right now, so it's time to start looking and applying to places.
For Elisha, the idea of studying in a foreign country without the restrictions of a conservative Muslim majority society is part of the appeal. Not to mention the yearning to escape the daily challenges of living in a city of 20 million people, ranging from power cuts, water shortages and patchy internet to violent street crime.
I would rather have a life where I feel safe and I feel happy and satisfied, and I can, as an artist as well, I want to be able to freely express myself.
The crumbling Parsi buildings today in the colonial era historic district of Karachi narrate a tale of a glorious era gone by. Once pioneers of the shipping and hospitality industries in Karachi, Parsis in Pakistan are struggling to adjust in a fast-changing world. For many among the younger generations, the only pull left keeping them in a country riven with political uncertainty, security challenges and a struggling economy is their aging relatives.
It would be a difficult decision, but then yet if I have an opportunity which would give my parents an opportunity to live a healthy lifestyle, I would say yes. Then I would obviously go for it.
Given that their religion, considered among the oldest in the world, forbids conversion and mixed marriages are frowned upon to this day. The likelihood of finding a Zoroastrian partner in Canada, Australia, the United Kingdom and America is much higher than in Pakistan.
And another aspect is the diaspora has become so great abroad that there are better chances of finding a Zoroastrian partner in Canada, Australia, UK and America than it is to get in Pakistan. Much, much higher. We are 800 here, but there are 8,000 Zoroastrians in Toronto. So it gives you a perspective.
A wave of Parsis had left Pakistan in the 1980s during the hardline military rule of General Zia-ul-Haq, who enforced a program of Islamization. Though admittedly they have not been targeted by Islamist violence, it remains a cause of concern. But the predicament is not unique to Parsis. The number of highly skilled Pakistanis who left for jobs abroad has more than doubled from 20,865 in 2022 to 45,687 in 2023, according to the latest figures from the Pakistan Economic Survey. As the young Parsi population migrates, their community in Pakistan faces an uncertain future within the country.
Now, Srinagar is all set to get its first direct train to Katra on the 19th of this month. The service will soon extend to New Delhi, connecting Kashmir to the rest of India. So what does this connect mean for Kashmir and also the region as a whole? Take a look.
The Srinagar-New Delhi rail link has been in the making for the last 20 years. Get ready for the first ever Vande Bharat Express to connect the Kashmir Valley with the national capital. While the inaugural service between Katra and Srinagar is scheduled to begin on the 19th of April, full-fledged operations between New Delhi and Srinagar will commence in the second phase, likely by August or September.
For the first time ever in the history of Jammu and Kashmir, a train that left from New Delhi and reached Katra is the Vande Bharat train that left today morning from the Katra railway station and for the first time ever has reached the Srinagar railway station.
The vision of our Honorable Prime Minister to connect Kashmir with the rest of the rail network, it resulted in a very fast execution of the USBRL project in the last 10 years. And the fruits of that hard work is being, we were bearing witness to those efforts today in the form of Vande Bharat train arriving in Kashmir Valley. And definitely it's going to be an all-weather connectivity, so it's going to immensely benefit the local population and the tourism sector here.
Tourism stakeholders have been the happiest with the news of the rail link between Srinagar and New Delhi. Kashmir Valley is a tourist destination, and the most significant impact of having a rail link will be on this industry. Kashmir Valley is waiting for a tourist boom after the start of the service, as it would be a cheap and easy mode of transport while coming to the valley.
The train travel would be extremely cheap for the people to travel from different parts of the country to the Kashmir Valley, while as this train has finally, the trial has been done.
We have been waiting for this wonderful thing to arrive for a long time. Huge beneficial for the local people, for tourism as well as for every citizen.
The business community of Kashmir Valley have welcomed this step. Most business people believe it will be one of the biggest game changers in the history of Jammu and Kashmir, taking business and tourism to new peaks. The 800-kilometer-long railway track from Srinagar to New Delhi will be covered within 13 hours of travel time, plus a stopover at Katra, where the passengers have to deboard the train for security reasons. Despite the train change, passengers will not need separate tickets. The railway track, which runs on the most challenging terrain of the Himalayas, will have more bridges and tunnels than any other railway track in India. The track will have around 900 plus bridges with 38 tunnels. The longest train tunnel is the Kir Panjal Railway Tunnel, measuring 11.21 kilometers, and also the world's highest arch bridge over the Chenab River, with a height of 359 meters, making it higher than the Eiffel Tower of Paris. The tourists coming to Kashmir Valley have welcomed the step and said that having a train service to Srinagar would mean less money and affordable travel for the middle class. For those who have always wanted to visit Kashmir but found the flight prohibitively expensive, the new Vande Bharat sleeper train will be a godsend. The time to see Kashmir for the masses has finally come.
And that's all that we have for you on the show today. We leave you with the visuals of the newly built Pamban bridge that was inaugurated by the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi last week. The new Pamban bridge has revived aspirations for re-establishing a direct rail link between India and Sri Lanka. Take a look. On behalf of the entire team of Inside South Asia, thank you so much for watching.
The new Pamban bridge to Rameswaram, a town that is thousands of years old, is being connected by a 21st century engineering wonder.